We are back for the season premiere of Nighttime. Welcome back, everyone, here at Hitting the Field. This semester is going to be a blast with college football wrapping up their season and college basketball just getting started. My name is Camden Mowry, and the new season of Nighttime starts now.
Things gon' change when I really hit the field. Undefeated champs, man, you know what's the deal. Tryna find a kid, I'm in the field doing drills. Boy, you just a sucker, you ain't never keep it real. 3 rings in my hand, I'm a warrior to the max. When I hang it up, they gon' have to give me plaques. Step up in the building and I only bring the facts. When I make a highlight, they gon' replay, run it back. Okay, always locked in, now I don't got time to lax. Saying he the best, he could take a lap. Batted 1,000 when you check the stats. Boy, is you ready? You ain't gotta ask.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Season 2 of Nighttime. My name's Taylor Anderson, joined by the fabulous co-host Camden Mowry. We are so excited to get this season started. This is our last time talking about college football this semester, so we're really upset about it. But there's so many good sports starting up in the spring, and we also have college basketball just getting started, as Camden mentioned. But we want to start off couple days before Christmas. UCF kicked off in the Gabriel Bowl against the University of Florida Gators and came out on top. UCF came out on top 29-17 in Tampa, and this was honestly the most fun that I have ever had at a UCF game because the UCF fans were so electric, not to mention the sad Gator fans leaving with most of the fourth quarter to go. While the offense still had its struggles, players like Ryan O'Keefe and Isaiah Bowser really stepped up when Mikey Keene needed them. The defense was the big takeaway for me. It was nice to see UCF get some 3-and-outs and also just stepping up and tackling, holding the run, and being right on top of those passes. Camden, what did you think about this game?
Well, I'll tell you, it was an early Christmas present for all of us, I think. We are now officially the best team in the state, and it is not even close. The Gators regressed, Miami's in a rebuild, and Florida State is just Florida State. I don't even know what sport they do anymore. Are they even a basketball school?
Soccer, basketball.
All that stuff. But yeah, like you said, Isaiah Bowser, Ryan O'Keefe, I feel like we're going to talk about them later, but this game was awesome. They had a slow start, both teams. Then when Florida started to score, I was thinking, oh boy, just don't get blown out. And then the defense for UCF played amazing. I mean, this game was fun to watch. Me and my roommates were screaming at the top of our lungs, watching it on the TV. We had a great time.
It was a great time to be there. That was my greatest experience being a UCF student. It was so much fun. The offense, we didn't do awful, and we had a couple players that really stood out and some that are even coming back for next year, so I'm really excited for that to come. So we are going to get started with this new season with, of course, our offensive and defensive players from this game. My offensive player for this one was Isaiah Bowser. He had 37 carries for 167 yards and 2 touchdowns. I had my doubts if he was going to play for UCF for another season, but I'm so excited that he announced he's coming back because he really is such an outstanding player, and he has been all season long. Whenever you need that spark in the offense during a drive, Bowser will do just that. He has so much power as a running back, and defensive really have a hard time trying to stop him. I think the motto for next season is just, when in doubt, please give the ball to Bowser. Besides the opening game against Boise State, this is the best game Bowser had all season, even though he was hurt for a couple, but he really showed out in this game when a struggling offense needed him. Camden, who was your offensive player for this game?
Well, you're right. They did pound that rock. I'm so glad Bowser's coming back. But I've got Ryan O'Keefe as mine, and he's a guy that I've talked about all year. He had 4 carries himself for 110 yards with that really long run that set up that Bowser touchdown. And he also had 85 yards receiving and a long receiving touchdown. He had a great game. He's coming back next year as well, I believe, as he was only a junior. And I'm just so happy that this offense is going to be great. We got a lot of new players coming in, a lot of transfers coming in, and that is my offensive player of the week. Let's go on to defense.
So this defense was, no surprise, struggling for the majority of the season, but this game they really stood out. The defense as a whole has so much improvement from previous games during this bowl game. I honestly commend the defense as a whole, but when it comes down to the stat standpoint, I'm really going to miss him, Tatum Bethune. He totaled 7 tackles, and 6 of those were solo. Collectively, though, Cam Good, Jeremiah Jean-Baptiste, and Devante Brown really helped out when the defense came down to tackles for loss, which really helped them get off the field. when it comes down to it, Tatum Bethune was on so many stops and had such a great season. Where he ends up next year, we'll truly be lucky to have him. We wish him the best. I'm going to miss him. But Camden, who is your defensive standout?
Yeah, it's sad that he's going, but on to better things he goes. Like you said, you mentioned his name earlier. Mine is Devante Brown, a guy that had 3 pass breakups and 4 solo tackles. Now, I'm not saying Emory Jones puts the ball in a great spot, but I remember at the start of that night, there were rumors that he was going to transfer to UCF. But watching that game, I didn't want him as our quarterback after that game. I mean, I don't know what he's going to do. I don't think he's going to find a job anywhere better than Florida. But, yeah, I got Devante Brown. He played great in the secondary, and I think that he was a great help to the defense that game.
So speaking of players going in and out, we have to talk about it. We touched on it a little bit before the semester ended last semester, but UCF's previous quarterback, Dylan Gabriel, was heading to the West Coast to be a UCLA Bruin not that long ago, but recently he announced that he will be playing for the Oklahoma Sooners with head coach Brent Venables. I honestly was very confused by the whole situation. I thought that he would fit in very well with UCLA with head coach Chip Kelly, and he was a little closer to home when he wanted to travel back. But I guess this move does make sense for DG, as he will be reuniting with former UCF quarterback coach and offensive coordinator Jeff Lebby. I'm interested to see how the reunion of the two helps the Sooners offensively this season, but this was a really big confusion, mix-up. A lot of UCF fans were talking bad about this whole situation. So Camden, what do you think about it?
Well, I was shocked just like you. I was under the belief that he was going to UCLA. I had told everyone he's gone. UCLA, didn't think anything much about it. Thought that would be a good fit for him. West Coast, Pac-12 football, not a lot of competition. But then it all breaks down. Lincoln Riley heads out west. Now Caleb Williams is going out west. And as soon as he said that he was transferring, boom, a couple hours later, Dylan Gabriel, I'm going to Oklahoma. And honestly, that's where quarterbacks get drafted. So I feel like this is a good move for him. He'll probably make some good money there. But this is he's going to be throwing the ball a whole lot. And luckily, he's doing it before they go to the SEC, because he'd be winning 6 games if he went to the SEC.
Wow. Okay, so good luck to Dylan at Oklahoma next season. But there are a bunch of good transfers that UCF is getting, and I'm very excited. I feel like every other hour there are people going in and out of the transfer portal. There are many new Knights that will be coming into this program next season. Former Ole Miss quarterback John Reese Plumey will be coming to UCF next year. He has a key role at the quarterback position and was more of a runner than a passer in Oxford. He gained 1,023 yards and 12 rushing touchdowns. I think that he will be an important transfer when it comes to the quarterback battle between him, Castellanos, and Keene. I think both McKenzie and Dylan were very strong in the passing game, so I'm interested to see how Gus takes on a quarterback that would be more of an on-the-ground player. But who are you excited to see play for us next year?
Well, I'll tell you, this quarterback from Ole Miss, I'm pretty sure he was also a wide receiver, if I remember correctly.
And a baseball player.
That is, and what?
Baseball.
Baseball. So he's definitely got some speed, maybe a little Kyler Murray, a little Spencer Rattler. I don't know. Maybe he's got some speed to him, so that'll be good. I'm excited. They just got this new wide receiver from Auburn, and he is reuniting with Gus Malzahn. But I'm also excited for some of the recruits coming in. We got the Henderson twins that you mentioned on defense, those 2 D-backs, and we got another running back, a 3-star recruit coming in. So I think that this team is going to be loaded for next year. I think next year we got Cincinnati at home. This is going to be the year that UCF tries to get it done.
So speaking of this year, I want to touch on the future of UCF football. We hear Gus talk about it. He's talked about it when he was announcing that he was coming here, that UCF is the future of college football. I think he proved what he wants to do here at UCF. He has a really strong mold now for what he is trying to provide for this school. And I think that the future of UCF football is strong, and I think it's just continuing to build. A strong coaching staff will keep players wanting to come here. Gus finished his first season with a 9-4 season, and even though Florida was 6-6 during the bowl game, it was still such a good win for Knight Nation. I think that win will help recruits, and it wasn't a perfect season, which allows Gus to help the Knights improve next year. But I'm excited to see where it goes. Obviously, this is only up, improvement to come. Who knows, maybe we'll be in the championship game next year. We're crossing over conferences in a couple of years, so I'm excited to see what happens. What do you think of the future of UCF football?
Well, now that is a bold prediction. I would just say let's start out winning the conference, because we know Cincinnati is going to be there. We know Houston now is on the rise. But yeah, you said Florida was 6-6, which when you look at the SEC, 6-6 is I guess good for the SEC because it means more out there. But yeah, I remember going into that game. Florida was favored, and I was just looking at them Florida's not good. I've watched this team play all year, and they're not very good. And so for UCF to come out with a win, It was really good. And like you said, Gus Malzahn, 9-4. I think he's going to build that defense up because at Auburn, except for like when Cam Newton was the quarterback, their offense wasn't really the strong point of that team. It's going to be the defense. The defense is going to come together. They're going to play great. And now we got a couple explosive offensive players returning with Isaiah Bowser and Ryan O'Keefe. So I think we got a chance. Let's go 10-2. Let's try to win this conference. I'll be at that game next year against Cincinnati. It should be a good one.
I'm excited. So that is the finale for UCF football on KnightTime for this season. But we have so much more to come up with college football. We just had a national championship and multiple bowl games. So we are going to get to those in our next segment. So stay tuned.
Cowboys versus Giants. Why? Because I am a New York Giants fan and I want my first pick of the week to be my team. I see an upset for the New York Giants this Sunday. Bet your entire savings, and I'm telling you right now, they're gonna win. I don't care what you say. It's gonna happen.
I'm going to go Yankees 4-1. I think Garrett Cole's going to give them 7 shutout. It's Garrett Cole. I trust him in this type of situation.
2-1 pitch.
The Yankees lost to Boston in the wild card game, and I told Johnny if my boys lose, I'd come on the show in this.
I have to go with the Raiders, I think, for this one. I don't see them losing.
Welcome back. It is now time for our primetime picks of the week, the best segment. I'm currently doing awful, standing at 16-10, Oklahoma State and Texas. I'm going Texas 35-27.
UCF keeps the 30 points per game streak alive. I'm going to go 35-10. UCF wins.
Welcome back to our second segment of KnightTime. I am joined here with Kelly Campbell. How are we doing, Kelly, after that national championship game?
Oh, another championship game with 2 SEC teams. So exciting.
I know. Weren't we all so surprised that Georgia and Bama had a rematch? I mean, nobody could have predicted that one.
Absolutely no one. It's not like we could tell from like the second week of the season or anything.
No one thought Georgia was that team this year. But without my sarcasm, let's go ahead. Taylor, I know you want to say something about this. Go ahead.
All right, so the Georgia Bulldogs came out on top over the Alabama Crimson Tide, 33-18. If you watched this game, you know that it did not come alive until the fourth quarter, leading up to a big finish. Georgia was able to get the revenge after losing by 17 points to Bama in the SEC championship game after being on top for the majority of the year. I think it was truly shifted in the moment when Alabama's blocked field goal attempt happened. After that, the Bulldogs running back Cook put Georgia in scoring position with a 67-yard run, and Georgia would score a couple of plays later. Georgia's defense was able to catch some breaks with Williams going down in the first half and receivers dropping passes, but there really isn't any denying that Georgia contested Bama in all aspects, and that's why they were able to come out on top. But again, Bama, Georgia, so fun to watch. I don't know. I was rooting for Georgia because I just wanted to see a little bit of difference in a national championship win. But Kelly, what did you think about this game?
Well, I mean, I guess good for Georgia. They haven't won since 1980. So I guess their fans kind of deserve that. But I mean, I'll let them enjoy it, but I don't want any fan walking up to me and barking at me.
So weird.
It's odd. It's weird behavior. Do what you want to do, but that's just weird.
Not a fan of the barks, huh?
No.
Well,
honestly, Alabama, I mean, it would be hard to beat a good Georgia team twice. Alabama did it once in the SEC title game, and now we have a natty champ who didn't win their conference. So.
Oh, yeah, isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, like you said, it's hard to beat a team twice. It's also hard to beat them without your star wide receiver, Jamison Williams, who transferred from Ohio State. Just wanted to throw that in, okay? He would have been the 4th best receiver on that team. But anywho, going back to that, if you guys remember watching this, that game against Auburn, their offense was terrible. They had 3 points till about 30 seconds left in that game. Why? Because on the first or second drive on the game, Jamison Williams goes out with a targeting call on a punt. All right, After that, they couldn't score at all. And then, of course, that whole overtime things happened. Bryce Young is the best, and they go on to win that game. They beat Georgia. But I'm not trying to make it look like this injury was a good thing. This is going to be awful. Hopefully, Jameson Williams is still the same player that he was before. And without him, it was easy to see that the Dogs dominated on defense. They held Alabama to only 18 points, and that pick six at the end of the game really cemented them on top of the world.
Oh yeah, that was painful.
So do you think Bryce Young still Heisman worthy for this past season?
Nope. It was all because of Jameson Williams.
And you're literally only saying that because of CJ Stroud, so I don't want to hear
You know what? I'm also salty that Jameson Williams left the Buckeyes, but if you go watch the tape, Look at who's running wide open down the field, 10 yards behind defenders.
Not his fault.
Hey, I mean,
I think you said that Bryce Young is on top of winning the Heisman next year too.
Yeah, he's favorited.
Yeah.
Right in front of CJ Stroud.
Oh, in front of. Dang. So when it comes to MVPs of this game, I want to give my MVP shout out to Stetson Bennett. He was a walk-on for Alabama for this national championship win. This was his dream school. The first half was definitely rough for him. He was 11 for 17, no touchdowns, had been sacked twice, and just did not look confident. Then he lost a pass that turned into a fumble or not. Literally, who knows what that call should have been. That's a whole nother discussion we can talk about. But the fourth quarter was really when he came into this game and made it his own. Both of his touchdowns came in the fourth quarter, and he had the throw of the game to Mitchell for a 40-yard touchdown pass. The throw, how he carried himself, and his whole story is just insane. So for that, he gets my MVP. Kelly, who was a standout for you during this game?
Honestly, I'm going to have to agree with you because I was having the same thought process. I was watching the first half and I was like, geez, this guy's terrible. And then I did a little research on him. I watched him in the second half, and because of what he did and how they came back, I give him the same honorary title, although it hurts me.
Yeah, I never thought that a quarterback named Stetson would be on top of the world, but here we are in 2022, which is crazy to think about. But the Georgia defense just played great. I mean, I know the whole thing with Jameson Williams, John Mechie was also out, but that Georgia defense, Jordan Davis clogged the middle of the field all night long. Didn't really impact on the stat sheets, but that Georgia defense and, of course, that pick six, that whole unit going out to stopping Alabama to only 18 points. I believe they only had one touchdown. Yeah. Now, that is impressive after giving up 41 in the national championship. It takes a lot to come back from that.
The battle of the 5 stars, and the team with 14 of them won. Dang. Who would have thought?
Yeah, the two best talent teams go up against each other.
All right, Camden, are you ready for this one?
All right.
I want to take it back to one of the New Year's 6 games, the Rose Bowl. And no, we're not just mentioning this game because Ohio State's biggest fan is here, but this game between the Buckeyes and Utah Utes was nothing short of what every great Rose Bowl is. CJ Stroud and Jackson Smith-Njigba obliterated some of the Ohio State's passing records. Smith-Njigba set the record for any FBS bowl game, receiving 347 yards and catching a school record of 15 passes and 3 touchdowns. Ohio State was still down for a majority of the game when battling Utah, but even after Cameron Rising went down with less than 10 minutes left in the fourth, backup Bryson Barnes, who had not played one snap all season, still showed out for the Utes. The Buckeyes still, however, ended up on top, but I don't know. I think the Rose, Sugar Fiesta, and Peach Bowl games were better than the Cotton and Orange Bowl for obvious reasons. So maybe more playoff expansion talk coming soon. Kelly, what do you think about these New Year's 6 games? And specifically, I know it's hard to talk about, but the Ohio State one.
Honestly, don't get too excited. I was rooting for Ohio State in the game against the Utes. My father's mindset has finally graced upon me, and I should root for the conference in the bowl games. And after my own team unfortunately hurt my feelings a couple hours beforehand, I was still pulling for the Big Ten. But Ohio State, that was a very exciting game. They were losing, and they were losing pretty badly up until just about the middle of the fourth quarter. And it was an exciting game. I loved the Rose Bowl. The Rose Bowl has been awesome the last 4 years. And that's why I'm hoping that we can talk playoff expansion, because you would get more money, you would get more fans, it would actually mean something to the players. So I don't know why we're not doing it. I don't know why we're not sitting here taking advantage of every possible positive that would come out of it.
Yeah, I was doing my research on this, and it doesn't seem like we're going to get expansion this year. But just for a second, I'm going to go back and talk Ohio State football. I was also rooting for your Penn State team, Kelly, but they let me down more than they let you down.
I think that's impossible.
No, I was so hurt because then I had to go and watch my team go down by 14, and I was thinking, oh, they're right in this game. And then, of course, halftime comes around. I'm thinking, oh, they're right in this game. And then C.J. Stroud takes off. Him and Jackson Smith and Jigba. Don't forget about Marvin Harrison Jr., son of Marvin Harrison, who played for the Colts. And he had 3 receiving touchdowns as well. Ohio State pulls off the big comeback. Shout out to Noah Ruggles with that kick at the end of the game. People won't look at it, but kicker did his job. They won the game. But all those other bowl games were also really good bowl games. Like the Penn State game, the Notre Dame-Oklahoma State game was good.
That was a great game.
It was a great game because Oklahoma State was down like, 28-7 or something like that?
Yep.
And they came back. Yeah. I mean, these games, people want to watch them, but there's no incentive. There's people sitting out. Ohio State's top 2 receivers are sitting out, which personally I don't agree with. I mean, I'm okay. You want to go, you don't want to hurt your draft stock. That's cool for the players. But for the fans, we want to see these big players play. We want to see the names play. We want to see expansion. 6, 10, 12, whatever it is, they need to get it done because they're going to make more money. I don't care how they do it. There's some good ways out there. But I think 12 teams with a 1-conference buy-in for all the 5 Power 5s is good. And then just give the rest of the top teams. We'll have a lot more games, and I think it's a lot better for the sport.
Camden, how do you feel about a quarterback that didn't take 1 snap all season long playing against Ohio State and almost winning?
Okay, hold on a second here. If you go back, I put the throw at the end of
Against
the
that
highlight.
stout
It's not
defense.
even a good throw. No, Ohio State's defense was awful. All right, let me get that straight. They gave up 45 points. Their defense is terrible. Thank goodness they got the defensive coordinator from Oklahoma State now. They're going to be back this year. But, yeah, that was so sad. I watched this quarterback get his head taken off, and I'm thinking, here comes the backup. This game's over. And he marches right down the field. Like, this defense was terrible. I was so frustrated. But you know what? In the second half, they only gave up 10 points, so it wasn't that bad.
All right. Well, they are ranked above Georgia for this upcoming season. So that is it for our college football talk. I'm really upset. I'm so sad. My last time talking college football ever at Hitting the Field. But we have many more sports coming up for this spring season, and we will touch on them right when we come back.
I'm in charge of the meeting this week. So you know what we're going to talk about? Basketball. The second thing we're going to talk about this week is basketball. Okay? And the third and last thing we're going to talk about is basketball.
Yeah. God. Yeah. It's ridiculous. I want to quit. Can I quit? Take that.
Look at the screen. What are we talking about this week?
Basketball.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. So we're used to doing some primetime picks for this segment of the show with college football, but we're going to transition into more of college basketball, and we are going to talk about UCF men's basketball. UCF men's basketball took on the Memphis Tigers last night and won 74-64. They finished with 11 three-point shots, shooting 45.8% from the field. Memphis had won 5 straight times against the Knights, and UCF was coming off a 2-loss game streak. A top night for this game was Darren Green Jr. with 20 points and was 8 of 14 from the field. C.J. Walker and Darius Johnson added 12 points each to the Knights' score. Fifth-year Darius Perry had 11 points and 5 assists, and 6 different Knights had at least 1 three-pointer. How's this Knights team looking for you, Camden?
They're weird, all right? Like, they come out and they lose these 2 games to SMU and to, like, Temple, and then they come out and they beat Michigan. I mean, Michigan's no, like, top 25 team right now, but they're still Michigan. And then they come out and beat Memphis, who's got Imani Bates, who's only 17 years old. We'll get into that later. But the real DG, not Dylan Gabriel, Darren Green Jr. This guy is a beast. I mean, I'm watching this guy play. He hits 3 buckets in a row. And then he goes and stands in the corner for like 5 minutes and doesn't touch the ball. And Memphis, of course, comes back, and we're sitting there watching the game like, what are you doing? Give him the ball. But Darren Green Jr., that dude was awesome. C.J. Walker, he was awesome. This UCF team is actually good. Like, I can see them making it into a top 8 seed in the March Madness tournament and maybe going to the round of 32 again, just like that year against Duke. I don't know. This could be a good year for UCF. I was excited last night.
Kelly, what do you think about this hit-and-miss UCF team?
Honestly, I'm excited because I have witnessed in the past couple years, I thought UCF basketball was going to be good, and then it was just downhill from there. So right now we're on that upward slope. We're beating teams like Michigan actually Michigan's head coaching staff ate dinner at my restaurant the night before they played us, and I was like, oh, go Knights, and walked away. But I told them, I was like, I think you guys are going to win tomorrow, but I hope not. And look at it, we won. So
It's all because of you.
I'll take these wins over these big teams, and even if they're not super good in their conference, it's still a big name over a big name team, or a big win over a big name team. So
That is
those matter.
So I want to get into some picks. So I'm going to take in the Baylor versus West Virginia game, Baylor, because even though they lost to Texas Tech, they still have double-digit wins over Villanova and Michigan State. So realistically, there's no good reason to even think about West Virginia coming out on top over the Bears. Camden, who are you going to pick?
Well, you say no good reason, and I
Give me a
agree with
reason.
you.
Okay.
I agree with you. Yeah, I got you there, but on the next one, I'm not gonna.
Okay.
All right, so here's the deal. Baylor's the #1 team. I believe they have another game before they play this game against West Virginia, but West Virginia's defense is sneaky good. They're always good. I remember last year that defense is always really good. But Baylor, #1 team, play really good team basketball. There is no reason why they should not bounce back and beat this team.
All right, Kelly, West Virginia or Baylor?
Baylor,
Baylor, all right.
easy.
Moving on to Illinois and Purdue, I'm going to take Illinois. The Fighting Illini have started to come back this season. I think I'm just going to go with them for this game. To be honest, I'm not well versed on this one, but I'm going to take Illinois over Purdue. Camden?
Well, I couldn't wait to start fighting you today, and this is where it's going to happen, all right? I heard you guys making your stats about the Illini. They've won 5 in a row. Yeah, who have they beaten back there, Tyler? You want to let me know who they've beaten? Nobody. Nobody good. The last good team they played was against Arizona, and they lost, all right? This Illinois team, they've got some good players, but I think that Purdue with Jaden Ivey and Zach Edey, they're just going to out-athleticize them. Kelly, go ahead.
I agree, Camden. I think Purdue is also going to win.
Got her on my side.
Being a Big Ten basketball fan, I do watch all the games against these Big Ten teams, and more often than not, Purdue is one of the better teams in the Big Ten, and I think that's going to run true again this season. I think they just were kind of off to a slow start, but I have Purdue.
All right, so a SEC matchup, Kentucky and Tennessee. I'm taking Kentucky over Tennessee. Kentucky leads the all-time series 157-75. I think that the momentum with their win over Georgia will push them for the win over the Volunteers. Ty Washington had an impressive double-double and continues to show his dominance. Kentucky is 8th in the nation with an average of 82.9 points per game, but can also get the work done on defense. Who are you taking in this SEC matchup, Camden?
SEC basketball is always fun. I feel like we get into this trap of just thinking, oh, Kentucky's going to win because of how great they're, how dominant they've been the last 10 years. I'm also going to take Kentucky. I've got no reason to go up against Tennessee or to pick Tennessee. I've got no clue if Tennessee could even win this game. It should be a close game. I think it's actually going to be a really good game, but I got Kentucky. Kelly, what about you?
I'm also taking Kentucky, but I don't think it's going to be a close game. I have Kentucky by a lot.
Okay, well, my favorite time of the year is coming up next to college football. I love college softball and baseball so much. I'm starting with the baseball team. The Knights will start off their season Friday, February 18th against Siena here in Orlando, and I'm so excited. Softball will take on Georgia at home Thursday, February 10th for their first game of the season. Softball finished their 2021 season with a 41-19-1 record, and baseball finished with a rough 31-30 record. I'm definitely looking forward to a lot of improvement for baseball, but I really can't wait for this season to start. Camden and Kelly, thank you so much for coming on. So excited to keep this season rolling with you guys. And stay tuned for next week for more college basketball talk. Thanks for watching.
Things gon' change when I really hit the field. Undefeated champs, man, you know what's the deal. Tryna find a kid, I'm in the field doing drills. Boy, you just a sucker, you ain't never keep it real. 3 rings in my hand, I'm a warrior to the max. When I hang it up, they gon' have to give me plaques. Step up in the building and I only bring the facts. When I make it